In this episode of The Trend Talk, Bel and Naibe welcome actor Allen Maldonado, who currently stars on ABC's hit show Blackish, and the Last O.G with Tracy Morgan. Then, meet singer Stephanie Amaro, whose passion for mariachi music led her to Trio Ellas and La Voz. Then the letdown of being the first woman guitar player and vocalist in a noted mariachi group. And last but not least, Alejandra Colín of Ale Colín Hair Studio talks hair and business. All that on The Trend Talk.
Welcome to the Trend Talk. Thank you so much for joining us today, because you know we're all about the trends and the celebrities and anyone who's trending.
That's right. And one word that's trending is Chicano. The meaning of it is different for different people, and it's kind of evolved and changed. And some people look at it in one way, others in another way. How do you see the word Chicano?
Well, I basically identify as a Chicana. However, what is interesting is that now I find that the millennials and even younger kids, they are identifying as Chicanos. So I found that interesting, because before that wasn't the case.
That's right. In fact, sometimes in the past, people thought Chicano was a dubious term and even a militant term. So some people shied away from identifying as Chicano because they didn't want to be identified with a militant cause or with extreme behavior or, you know, revolutionary type of movement. But it's beyond that. I mean, the word Chicano isn't necessarily that, is it?
Well, there's still a debate, but in 1970, Ruben Salazar, who was a civil rights activist and a reporter for the LA Times, he wrote an article entitled, "Who is a Chicano and what is it that Chicanos want?" And his definition, to me, is one of the best definitions, because it is, a Chicano is a Mexican American with a non-Anglo image of himself. They resent Anglo pronouncements that Chicanos are culturally deprived, or that the fact that they speak Spanish is a problem. You know, he was the first Mexican American at a mainstream outlet, the Los Angeles Times, to cover Chicano issues in the community.
Right. And the word Chicano, some people actually also think that it's derived from a Nahuatl word, Mexica. So I don't know, it's very interesting. I wish there was more information and research on the origins of Chicano.
But where do people get a lot of their information? Movies, right? So there is a movie coming out, and it's called El Chicano. It stars George Lopez, Amy Garcia, and Raúl Castillo. And I recently went to a junket, and I had the opportunity to talk about the movie and to also talk to them about what they felt the word Chicano is and what it meant to them. So let's take a look at that. Chicano. For a while, that wasn't a cool thing to say, I'm Chicano, and people would not say that. But you're turning that around with this story. So what does Chicano mean to you, Chicano?
Well, beyond just being Mexican American, it's a sense of pride. You know, to me, Chicano means my grandparents who came from Durango, Mexico, that they came over the border and struggled and fought and established themselves here for my mother and then for us.
It's all worn out. They're coming 24 hours in the damn burst.
The definition of Chicano is what to you, George?
It is a person who is of Latin origin that is born in the United States, maybe speaks 2 languages, and can make you disappear like that.
Talking about the Chicano, the term Chicano is inherently a political term. It's, you know, adopted by Mexican Americans and as a source of pride. And I think Ben, as a director and as a writer, he enjoyed taking the term and turned it into this like mythical, iconic kind of.
I think Chicano's more LA than Texas.
That look in your eye.
What do you see?
Rage.
You look at the Avengers, everybody's got these incredible powers, but El Chicano is like if you had a big brother that whenever you felt unsafe, that he would show up and save you and save everybody.
Wow. I'm glad to see George Lopez doing more serious roles, because we're so used to his stand-up comedy and his, sitcoms, and this has a lot of substance.
I am neither right nor good. I will make up the difference in blood.
And then now there's people that aren't Mexican American that are identifying as Chicano. Like there's this whole Japanese fashion movement of people identifying as Chicano because they like the style, they like the kind of the lifestyle as well, the clothes, the art,
the makeup.
Right.
Yes, and there's this articles everywhere you look on all mainstream outlets about the Chicano, the Cholo. And then also there was this story about this Korean guy that said, I identify more with Chicanos because I grew up among them, and as opposed to the South Koreans, because he was Korean. He goes, I don't know anything about that. And so it's like a fish in the two worlds kind of is what the definition of Chicano would be. And anyone can identify as a Chicano. We welcome anybody to identify if that's what you do identify with. So we are now a little bit more enlightened on the word Chicano, and we are going to now talk to someone who is not a Chicano, but he has kind of a similar experience in a different way. He is currently on Blackish, and his current lead role is on the Last O.G. So don't go away. We will be right back.
I was hit by a BMW Roadster going 65 miles per hour, and I was walking. I wasn't in the car. I flew in the air, landed on my face. My right leg was broken. My spine.
Allen Maldonado is one of young Hollywood's busiest stars. He's an actor, he's a writer, he's an entrepreneur. You've seen him star alongside Tracy Morgan in The Last O.G. And you've also seen him in Blackish. He's also a writer on Survivor's Remorse. So many things, so talented, and he's right here, Allen Maldonado. Thanks for being on the Trend Talk.
No, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me, please. I appreciate it.
So we obviously have a lot of ground to cover, but I want to start with your Latino roots. We know that your father was Puerto Rican. He passed away from cancer when you were young.
Yeah.
So how do you stay connected to your Latino roots?
Oh, well, my family on the East Coast, man. All of my Puerto Rican family in Harlem and in the Bronx, and some in Brooklyn, some in Jersey, some in Boston. I would spend my summers in Harlem as a kid, where a lot of the character for Cousin Bobby comes from a lot of the people that I grew up around in the neighborhood, around in Wagner Projects. So I spent a lot of time with my family, in Wagner, and every summer, I would learn Spanish, then forget, then learn it again, and forget again. So it was an on again, off again type of relationship. As far as every summer, I would go to Harlem.
So, ¿hablas español?
No.
Poquito.
Un poquito. Now, I'll tell you what, I understand my grandmother, if that makes any sense.
But we're Mexican American, we know that.
Okay, so my grandmother speaks to me. I know exactly what she's saying, and that's just been something that we've been doing since I was a kid. So, so yeah.
So you started acting really young.
Yes.
And one of the places, maybe one of your first jobs was on soaps.
Yes.
And The Young and the Restless.
Yes.
That was at the early stages. Did that give you a little push, at least, to say, that
was my first big job, was The Young and the Restless. Rest in peace, Christoph. He was one of the main characters in my storyline. I was, I believe, 21 at the time. Wow. It was like my first big break. I made it moment. Started spending money on the wrong things, such as like swords off of the shopping network. This random stuff I just like, I got money there, I'm gonna buy random things off of shopping networks. It was I call it the acting Olympics, as you could be given a script while in the makeup chair, and then on your way to set, it's a whole new script by the time you get there. You have to be on your toes, and you got to be ready to ride.
And obviously things evolved, and now you're in major network shows and major cable shows. But before you got there, you almost didn't make it yourself. You were involved at the age of 21 while you were, I believe, filming soaps. You got involved in a near fatal car accident because of a drunk driver. So how has that impacted your life?
It's transformed me completely. I was hit by a BMW Roadster going 65 miles per hour, and I was walking. I wasn't in the car. I flew in the air, landed on my face. My right leg was broken. My spine was curved. Yeah, it was definitely a challenge, but what it did do for me, it was so many things that I grew from in my perspective of life, my fearlessness, my connection with God, just my understanding of what I need to do and how I need to do it, and how every minute on this earth should be cherished. We're not entitled to tomorrow.
Right.
So if tomorrow you don't wake up, could you look down upon yourself and say you did everything to achieve your dreams? And that's the question that I ask myself every day that I wake up and every second of the day. And if I can say yes, then that's a life fulfilled. So that accident has, really shaped me to who I am today, and it's, contributed to my work ethic, and the amount of success is due to that accident.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your current starring role, regular role on the Last O.G. Tell us about your character and how fun is that to play? Because I saw that you are pretty funny.
Yeah, thank you. Cousin Bobby's fun, man. He is the right-hand man to Tracy Morgan, Trey, on the show.
Listen, man. I brought Bobby by so he could check out the house, maybe make a proposal to Mullins. What you think, Bobby?
I mean, that'd be good, but first, I gotta find evidence of roaches or rodents. Oh, wait a minute, I think I found something. This right here is droppings from a German roach. It's the most common roach found on the eastern seaboard. This is a Madagascar hissing roach.
He's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's the funnest. He's funny. He may get you in some trouble, but you're gonna have a blast while getting out of it. And he's the loyal family member of Tracy, and we go on this adventure of life, being that Tracy's character has been in jail for 15 years, and I'm reacclimating him to society. You know, you could only imagine being 15 years removed of what is now today with technology, with just social cues are a lot different from 10, 15 years ago. So he's dealing with a lot of these things, and I kind of usher him into present time.
And speaking of technology, you're an entrepreneur in technology, right? You have an app called Everybody Digital, which is amazing, and it's giving so much exposure to so many creative people. Talk to us about that.
Well, I launched Everybody Digital. It's the short film app. We've been quickly dubbed the short film version of Netflix. We curate short films from around the world. We have over 100 short films in our catalog right now. We also produce original short films. We have one starring Dion Cole from Blackish called Why Comedians Laugh, another one called Narcoleptic with Miles Brown from Blackish. Basically, everybody from Blackish, I got to do a short film to participate on the app. But what we were doing with the short film app is that I want to be able to create a genre for short films and also add exposure for so many talented filmmakers from across the world that may not have the budgets to do a feature film, but can showcase their talents through short films. And our focus this year is to be able to help our filmmakers transition from short films to feature films, as our goal with our original films is that they will be doubled as proof of concepts, meaning that we will take that short film and package it in a way that we can pitch it to major networks and major studios so that they can be produced as feature films and actual television shows.
You got it going on.
Yes, that's the goal. So everybody out there, please download the app. It's Everybody Digital. It's in the Apple Store. It's in the Google Play. It's for free.
I'm going to download it right now.
Yes, please.
I looked it up online. I haven't downloaded it, but I will.
Please enjoy yourself.
Allen, thank you so much for being a guest on the Trend Talk. So again, we all know how to find your app, Everybody Digital.
Everybody Digital, yes.
And how could people find you on social media?
Please, Maldonado is everywhere on all the social medias. That's where they can find me.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Okay, don't go away. We'll be right back with a lot more here on the Trend Talk.
Let me put it this way. I was in an abusive relationship for about 8 years in my early 20s. And I lost a lot of time. And I lost...
Our next guest is a member of the renowned fusion group Trio Ellas. She's also recorded with the likes of Cyndi Lauper, Lady Gaga, and Pepe Aguilar. She is also the first woman guitar player to be in an all-male mariachi group. We want to welcome Stephanie Amaro to the Trend Talk.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
We're so happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
We know that you are just fresh from the experience of being on La Voz. You were a runner-up on La Voz.
Yep, first season of La Voz United States.
Wow.
I know, it was so cool.
So how did that come about? And you're still with Trio Ellas, right? Okay.
Yeah, all of us are kind of, we've been together for 10 years already, so we kind of are doing other projects on the side, but we still have Trio Ellas, we'll do concerts and we'll do stuff like that. But, it's like a marriage. We're like the Rolling Stones when everybody goes off and does their solo career and then comes back to the Rolling Stones.
But we know that La Voz gave you a lot of exposure on a whole different level. What was the biggest takeaway for you being on that show?
For me, it was, like I always say, it was like if I went back to night school or I went back to get a credential. And then it was that, because it was kind of a sacrifice, being away from your family and being away from your work. But it was the most educational, awesome experience musically that I think I've ever had. Like,
wow.
You got vocal lessons, vocal coaching with professionals every day. It was so educational.
So you also are being noted for being the first female to join an all-male elite mariachi group. You later formed the Trio Ellas.
Right.
But I want to talk about your experience because you kind of broke into a really difficult, community, which is the all-male mariachi traditional group that they've been doing this for years and years and years. So what was that experience like for you as a woman to be able to get in there?
I honestly feel that they're changing. I really do. It's very, very common for a lot of groups when you see mixed male-female groups because you need all those colors. It's like having a palette and being a painter and limiting yourself of colors if you don't have a mixed group like that. I think it's the elites maybe that are afraid of because the fans are very conservative, very older and set in their ways, But then when you look back at the old movies, you had Lola Beltran, you had like women that were powerful and they were up, they sang great and anyway.
So was there a pushback from the members?
No, I don't. I feel that the actual members were awesome. The guys are awesome. As long as you play and you sing and you carry your weight, or even if you don't, they'll let you know, and they should let you know.
Right.
That's equality to me, is to be treated just like if I was a guy member of the group, like, hey, you're slacking, or hey, let's do this. And that was the best part, because that's really how they treated me, the musicians.
But you had to leave the group for a reason.
Well,
you want to talk to us a little bit about that?
There's another side, because while I had all the musical fun and I was like honored to be there and so excited, there's like I'm not used to, let me put it this way. I was in an abusive relationship for about 8 years in my early 20s. And I lost a lot of time. And I learned a lot of hard lessons, but now I feel that I have, if someone tries to control me, especially a man, especially a young Latino man, I get really scared. You get that fight or flight feeling that I don't like. And I try at all costs to avoid people that will try to control me like that, or talk down to you, or make you feel bad. I'm an entertainer. I'm a singer. I want to go out on stage and feel good, and listen to the music and get into the music, and I just it was hard because the management of the group wanted just total control over my social media, my life, basically. Watch what you wear outside of on your days off. Watch what you wear. I saw a couple of posts on your old Instagram that I didn't like.
Oh my gosh.
Take it down, and I'm like, I'm not even under contract. Like, you can fire me at any time, and yet you want me to clear my entire schedule.
So they wanted to control you.
Right.
And you think because you were a woman, it was a little more harsh, the criticism and, looking at you with a certain lens?
Yeah, the criticism was because she looks like a soloist. You guys don't need her. Why do you need a solo artist? You guys are cool just fine by yourselves, which it's true. But I wouldn't look like a soloist if you had more than one woman in the group. You know what I mean? It's not my fault that I combed my hair today. you need to have more women.
So you were
know?
standing out
Right.
of the crowd, and they wanted
But I mean,
yeah.
I just don't think the management was ready for me. Like, you know, I talk back. You know.
So you weren't a dutiful
I
member.
really toned it down. For me, I toned it down a lot. But you know, I have like an ugly feeling in my stomach. I'm not comfortable around this guy, and he's always around, and he's always putting me down, and he's always saying. He told me one time, "I thought you were up here, as a performer with us, but now that after my first concert with them, he's like." You're like down here. So
We thank you for sharing that because that is
thank
powerful.
you for letting me get that off my chest.
No, that was powerful.
You know, yeah, and with your story, you're probably empowering other women that might be in similar situations to also find the power to leave that situation. So
Right.
your
I
story
mean, musically or in any part of
important.
your life, you know. You know, you're absolutely right. And for me, just to even have that title and to have done a few concerts with them, it's something I'm going to carry for the rest of my life.
You're championing women in mariachis. Pretty soon, hopefully, you'll see that woman and treated as an equal by management.
Right,
and
because it was going to
yeah.
be very well received. People want that. They want it. And the younger groups are doing it. So I think that even if the older groups don't, you know, it's the circle of life. The young groups are going to be there one day.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for coming. We want to make sure that we follow you. So where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram. Type my name, Stephanie Amaro, or at Red Giselle, 74. Facebook, Stephanie Amaro. All my stuff will come up.
Well,
YouTube,
thank
everything.
you so much for being here.
No problem. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. We will be right back with another amazing woman, Ale Colín, and don't go away. We'll be right back.
Another thing that I would love to do on women is uplift their spirit.
And they say that hairdressers do that. You're kind of a therapist. You're talking.
Ya llegó el carnaval, mucha gente nos visita. Desde lejos.
You know, Bel, Latinas are starting businesses more than any other segment of the population.
That's right, like our friend Ale Colín, who gave up her job in the corporate world to start her own business in the beauty world.
Let's take a look. My next guest is Alejandra Colín, born and raised in Mexico. She graduated with a degree in international business, but she moved to the United States to pursue her passion for hair. Bienvenida, Alejandra. ¿Cómo estás?
Thank you so much. Gracias por invitarme el día de hoy.
Of course, claro que sí. And we're here in Southern California, donde tienes clientes que hablan inglés, otros español. Típicamente, ¿cuál es tu cliente?
El 99.99% es gente que habla inglés solamente.
You literally left a career in international business to start a new career in a different country. How did you get that bravery to do it?
It's very difficult, especially because of the language barrier, right? However, because it's been my passion doing hair since I was a kid, so after I moved to the United States, I wanted to be involved in the beauty industry.
And why is beauty and hair your passion?
It's very important that I can help to feel and look better to women, to other people. However, another thing that I would love to do on women is uplift their spirit.
And they say that hairdressers do that. You're kind of a therapist. You're talking to your client, estás hablando con tu clienta y se abren, se comunican de sus problemas, te tienen confianza, ¿no? They open up to you. So talk to us about that kind of bond you have with your clients.
Puede ser una relación bastante estrecha, especialmente cuando las clientas van seguido a verte, ¿verdad? Hace su cita cada mes, etc.
What are the trends of hair these days?
Actually, I just came back from Europe. I went to Paris and London for continuing education. So in Europe and here in the United States, it's very trendy right now, like very ash colors for highlights, balayage, which is a highlighting technique, face framing highlights, which enhance your beauty. And in haircuts, the trend is shoulder length haircuts with a lot of texture.
If someone wants a consultation or wants to visit your salon, how do they get a hold of you? How can they find you?
At my website is alecolinhairstudio.com. Same for my Instagram page and Facebook, Ale Colín Hair Studio.
Well, thank you so much for being a guest here on The Trend Talk, because you know, if it's trending, we're talking.
What a powerhouse. Congratulations, Ale.
That's right. It's never too late to pursue your true passion. Congratulations. We'll be right back with a lot more of The Trend Talk after this short break. I'm Naibe Reynoso, a mom of two and an award-winning journalist.
And I'm Bel Hernandez, the wiser, older, chronic entrepreneur.
That's right, and we go together like café con leche. And follow us on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at The Trend Talk Show. Because if it's trending, we're talking. Well, we've reached the end of this episode of The Trend Talk, but we really want to thank all of our guests for coming and sharing their story.
That's right. And remember to follow us on social media at The Trend Talk, because if it's trending,
we're talking.
Llenos de algarabía. Ya llegó